a comprehensive look at trends, fund profiles, and more in Exploring ETFs.
We're going to explore energy ETFs now with our ETF strategist, Eric Dutram, who joins me here. You've got a, as they say, myriad of different ETFs in the energy space to profile today.
That's right, Terry. Well, as you know, a lot of investors out there, they just focus on WTI Crude because it's kind of the U.S. benchmark.
Right.
But, you know, there's actually a couple other options out there. I mean, USO is definitely the most popular, has about $1 billion in assets.
What does that stand for, USO?
Oh, that's just the symbol.
Yeah, this oil,
the
This
ETF.
is an oil ETF,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
But it just tracks front-month futures of the WTI Crude.
Oh, I see.
On the
okay.
NYMEX.
Okay, got it.
But, you know, thanks to fracking and, you know, some of the demand concerns, we've seen some, you know, heavy weakness in this fund and, you know, obviously and in oil over the past couple of months.
Yeah.
USO is down about 10%, you know, give or take year to date. So, you know, it hasn't been a great performer lately for sure.
So there are a lot of other choices in the energy space, though, right?
That's right. I mean, just don't think there's only USO. There's a bunch of other options out there. We've seen a lot of specialized products that target sort of niches of the energy space. And actually, there's close to 3 dozen energy ETFs out there. So, you know, feel free to look at some of these smaller products. Granted, they're not going to have as high volume. They might not have as tight of a trading spread, but they could be better options for investors right now, especially if crude oil is kind of a weak play.
All right, B&O that you want to talk about tracks Brent, right?
That's right. So Brent is sort of the European and more of a global benchmark for oil prices compared to the WTI, which is just for U.S. Purposes right now, actually. So Brent is, this ETF, it tracks Brent futures on the NYMEX, same thing, front-month futures. Brent oil is actually a slightly lower quality, but because of all the supply issues here in the U.S. with, you know, fracking really driving up the supply amounts and things like that, we've seen kind of a shift in the market, and Brent is actually, you know, sort of outperforming WTI crude here, and, you know, that could continue if we still see a lot of fracking and other, you know, Canadian tar sands continue to bring more supply here in the U.S. Obviously, they don't have as much of these issues over in Europe and some of the other Middle East countries, so that's why we're seeing a little bit of a difference in the price between these two. Granted, it is down year to date, down 2.5%, but I mean, if you compare that to USO, which is down at about 10%, as I was saying earlier, you know, it's a much better performer, and it might be a more stable play going forward if you're looking for, you know, pure oil ETF.
All right, and you've got a gasoline ETF on the list, too, UGA.
That's right.
I think you put these tickers there just because you know that they have ungodly long names.
Pretty much, yeah. These ones aren't too bad. This is actually United States Commodity Fund for gasoline, but it tracks front-month futures again with gasoline. RBOB gas is the actual type of gas. Here we got prices rising because of some supply issues. We've had a couple of refineries shut down, and that's really driving up sort of an imbalance here that's driving up gasoline relative to what we're seeing in the oil market. This is about 4.7% so far this year. Most of that positive trading has kind of happened here over the last month or so. We saw a strike as well, and that's, you know, once again cutting the supply out there.
RBOB gas.
That's right.
It's not just a country singer. Finally, you've got a heating oil fund, UHN.
That's right. This is also from the same ETF sponsor, and once again, we're tracking front-month futures here. And this is for heating oil. It's also known as #2 fuel. Mainly used in the Northeast. I know back growing up in Massachusetts, we always had heating oil as our fuel of choice. We didn't have natural gas. And as we all know, the winter's been pretty brutal in the Northeast. So, you know, heating oil is much more in demand. And since this accounts for about 80% of the heating oil usage is, you know, heating in the Northeast part of the country, you know, it's been a relatively strong performer, up about 6.4%. in the, you know, year-to-date time frame, and, you know, this really could persist if we continue to see really bad weather in New England and New York.
All right. Any guess, just before we wrap up here, on whether oil has found a bottom yet?
You know, it's really hard to say. I'd like to think we've reached a new stable level here in the $50 range, but you know, it all depends on OPEC, and I'm kind of betting we stay in this 45 to 55 range, at least for the next month or so.
All right, remember you heard it here first. You don't own any of these, do you?
I do not.
All right, check out other ETF commentary and fun articles in the ETF section of Zacks.com. If you're not there already watching this video, all you got to do is go to the home page and navigate using the Funds tab at the top toolbar. With Eric, I'm Terry Ruffalo.